Today, I'd like to chat with you about how I pre-visualise my Nightscape images and the steps I take to work out how to get maximum impact with my shots. One of the most difficult things people face with shooting nightscapes is the ability to see how it could look at night when scouting during the daylight. I want to show you a number of before and after images to give you an insight into my mindset when preparing for a night shoot. These images are the final shots from various trips over the past few years, and as you can see, there are lots of variations to both topic and location. As I've mentioned many times before, I spend lots of time searching locations during the daylight hours, trying to find subject matter I haven't shot before, as well as something challenging and inspirational. So here we are, travelling the countryside looking for new challenges, and I do believe I found a lovely scene just over here on the side of the road. So let's park the car and have a look around. Upon first look, this old broken windmill isn't all that appealing, but I've learnt by experience that there's always the opportunity for an awesome nightscape image with these old farm scenes. My advice is to step back and take in the scene for a while. This is actually the key to everything. Remember, this is all about pre-visualising a shot that at first may not be apparent. My go-to procedure is to line up where the Milky Way is so I can frame up the foreground object. This location turned out to be a gold mine of opportunity. I came back late one night to get some shots, and even though it was extremely cold and had been raining earlier, the images were awesome. One of the things that's impossible to plan for during the daytime is what effect light pollution has on our images at night. As you can see, there is a little glow on the clouds in the background of these images, which I actually quite like, as it helps silhouette the subject nicely. Whilst I was in this area of the countryside, I kept driving to see what else I could find. It wasn't long before something else caught my eye. There are always things I look for when travelling along these roads. One of the most elusive subjects where I live is a single tree sitting on top of a hilltop. And just now I've spotted one just out of the corner of my eye, just over there. What I'm looking for when confronted with a scene such as this is how easy it will be to separate the tree from any other bushes or trees in the background. I may want a clean silhouette or perhaps decide to light paint the foreground. Either way, I want the tree to stand out as the only land-based object under the night sky. Okay, so I'm sure you're thinking there must be dozens of such trees around the vast Australian countryside. Well, I can tell you that's certainly not the case. Maybe I'm fussy, but I've been looking for this beauty for quite some time now. When I came back to shoot this tree, I was pleasantly surprised to find a beautiful golden glow produced by the nearby small town silhouetting the tree with the awesome Milky Way core rising over the top. I took this shot with the 35mm f1.4 Sigma art lens, so to get the whole scene in, I decided to do a panorama. This is a 4-image vertical panorama shot in landscape orientation. So once again, it comes down to seeing the small details and pre-visualising what the scene will look like under the stars at night. Not as easy as you may think. It just goes to show that with a little planning, just about any scene can be transformed into a beautiful nightscape. The trick is to be able to see it in your mind before you see it in reality. So, driving on the road, I'm always looking for something to stand out, and I'll often stop and get out of the car to stretch my legs and scour the paddocks and fields for subject matter. There are plenty of times I'll go home without finding anything, but that doesn't deter me from continuing the search whenever I can. Now today, as I've been travelling around, I knew I'd be close to this location here, and it's been in the back of my mind for a while now to shoot here. I'm close to the lake in the background, and I know that the Milky Way core will be rising behind me in the eastern sky. I like the way the road is higher than the other surrounds, as it gives me the opportunity to get the camera low to the ground and create something a little mysterious. I must admit, I nearly always place my camera really low as to maximise the angles of foreground objects relative to the night sky in the background. So, when I returned to get the shot, I decided to do a backlit selfie with the lake behind and the Milky Way core overhead. I used a single flash to get the backlight effect, with the light stand holding the flash removed in post-production. Once again, I used the Sigma Art 35mm f1.4 on my Nikon D750, and this is a single shot of 10-second shutter speed. I'm pretty happy with my scouting mission so far, but I know of one more location which is actually just down the road from here. So let's go there now and I'll explain how I want to approach that shot. I've been here at this wonderful old windmill and tank on numerous occasions, but I'm always drawn back whenever the opportunity arises. It's a very easy shot to get as it sits right on the side of the road with good open space all around. I know that the Milky Way will rise over the top of the windmill, and on this occasion I might even get a little moonrise as well, just on the hilltop a bit later in the night. So that's exactly what panned out. I still had the 35mm Sigma on, and the quality of that lens really shines for these nightscapes. I always love using fast aperture lenses and often go for the longer focal lengths between 20mm and 50mm. Many people ask me how I find these lovely spots to shoot at night. Of course I spend a lot of time in the car, but my response is simply that I'm of the opinion that pretty much any scene can be made to look great at night. Photography is all about light, tone, shadow, subtle reflections, angles and colour. As you can see from these examples, ordinary subjects come alive when properly lit and placed under the stars. I think it's important to be open-minded when searching for nightscape locations. One of the things we often see are the same locations with the same ideas and the same methods used by the masses, which sometimes has the effect of limiting our creative energy as we simply copy what others are doing. Spend time looking for different compositions, feed your creative juices, and you'll be surprised how your work will begin to jump out and captivate the imagination. There are many reasons people get frustrated shooting nightscapes, but I would say the main reason is that we can't pre-visualise the shot. It's just too dark to see anything clearly after dark, and we don't make the effort to search during the daylight. In fact, most of us drive straight past many potentially awesome subjects all the time in the everyday journey of life. During the day, it's just another railway crossing, or another tree, or another whatever. But, as you can see from our travels today, everything, given the right conditions, can be a fine subject for a nightscape image. All it requires is a little pre-visualisation and perhaps a dash of good old-fashioned imagination. Anyway, in the next few weeks I'm going to be on some exciting travels, road trips, and I'll be looking forward to sharing these with you. So I'll see you next time.